Alright everyone, welcome back. So this week I thought we would talk about a subject that's gotten very little attention when it comes to masking inside Photoshop, and that is the use of vector masks. Now, vector mask is very similar to regular layer masking or channel masking or anything like that, except it generates its masks based on a vector path. And of course you can draw any of the vector tools inside of Photoshop. Here we have all these vector shapes that can be used to create a vector mask. But we're going to use the pen tool because here I have an image of a guitar, and what I want is to basically mask this away from its background. And you can see it's got some curved, very smooth curved edges here and some straight edges. Well, drawing a mask out of this, generating it through channels would be kind of difficult because there's a lot of similar tones between the guitar and the background. And generating it with any of the magic wand or any of the other selection tools might prove to be a little frustrating. But I'm going to make it much easier by using a vector mask. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to zoom in really close on this so I can find me a nice starting point. So I'm going to double click on my zoom tool and we'll get really close into this image. Move this over here. I'm going to go over here and select my path tool, or pen tool rather, pen or path. So we want the regular pen tool right here. So I'm going to go and grab that, and I'm just going to go inside the image here and just click at a good starting point, which this will look good. Click right there just once. So that'll set a starting point. So now I'm going to hold down my space bar and scroll and just kind of push and drag up my image here until we get to the top area here. I'm just going to click once there, and you can see we've got a path going here. I'm going to hold down my shift key so I get a perfectly straight line across here to the other side and click once there. Then I'll go down here to this point here and then click again, and we're just going to do this going all the way around the guitar. I'm just going to, when I get to a curved area, I'm just going to go to this point here. There it gives me a straight line, but if I'm still holding down my mouse button, I'll just drag. And that will pull out these two handles, which allow me to give a curve path. And then I'll go up here and click again, and we'll just modify that curve a little bit, and we'll click here. Now here, in this case, I'm going to go around or like through this knob here that's up top because I'm going to mask that after the fact. But I'm just going to draw this initial path, and I'm not really paying too close attention to how close I am to this guitar because it's a vector path. I can go in and really accurately modify it after I've drawn it. So you can see I'm just clicking and dragging and pulling out these handles and going right around the curve of this guitar. Now for the sake of time, I have already gone and finished this path right here. But I haven't fine-tuned it yet, so that's what we're going to do right here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more here, and you can see I'm not getting a very smooth mask here. So I'm going to need to modify that. I'm going to use that using my vector tools here. First thing is I've got the select tools here, which I have the path selection tool and direct select, which this of course selects the entire path. This one will select individual points on the path, and that's what I want, is the direct select tool. So with that tool selected, I'm just going to click on the line anywhere just so I can see where the points are I want to select. So there's a point here and a point there. I'm going to go ahead and select this one here, and if I click and drag this, it's going to drag the entire point and bend the lines based on these curves relative to the other points where they're going to be. So you can grab that. I can move the point. I can also grab the outer handles and modify the curve at that particular point. If I drag it in, makes it less of a curve, out makes it a bigger curve, and rotating it. So I'm just going to drag it out a little bit. Let's go up here and select this point here and modify that a little bit. And if I want to modify an individual handle, you can see if I select a point and I've got those handles there, if I click with the direct select on this outside handle, you can see that the other side bends as well. Well, if I don't really want to do that, I can go into the pen, select that point again. Let's go into the path tool menu here, go down here to convert point tool. And what that does is if I click in this path and grab the individual handle, it'll actually manipulate just that side of that point and not both sides. So I can actually get a much more fine-tuned selection here. I'm going to get that select tool. Let's select this point here and just kind of drag it down a little bit. Grab these handles and just push them in, and just watching those guides and just keeping this path right in play here. So here I'm going outside the lines a little much here, so I'm going to grab that direct select here. Let's grab that handle and just kind of fan it out there. Just kind of get it. Grab this one here, just kind of bend it in a little bit. Just fine tuning it. Now, there's that knob up here that I left out. Well, we're going to add that to the selection by getting the pen tool. And then I'm just going to click. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see. Just right there. I'm going to click on the inside of this existing path right here. And then just click and start drawing another path right around this one. I'm just clicking and plotting individual points here. When I get here to this curved area, I'm just going to click a new point here and drag over. Keeping the lines, the handle lines, straight with the top of my object. You can see I'm getting a curved corner there. And we'll do that same thing over here on the other side. And we'll just go all the way around and close the path. Now, I want that path to be the same as this one. I want it to be one path, not two individual paths, which is what they are now. So I'm just going to take my overall path selection tool and drag and select both of these. And then right up here in the options bar, I'm just going to click Combine. And there you can see it has combined those paths into play there. So once I've tweaked my path and everything looks good, I'm ready to go ahead and generate it as a mask. So we go in here into our layers palette. Now, of course, we know when you're generating a mask, it will not affect a layer that doesn't have transparency, namely a background layer. We need to make this a regular layer. So I'm going to go and double click on that, and we'll get new layer and just hit OK. Now, with my path selected, get that path tool and just drag and select the path. All I need to do now is go under the layer menu, go down here to vector mask, and we're going to go down here to current path. So we're taking that current path and generating a vector mask. And you can see, like a layer mask, it generates an icon and there's a link to it, but it looks a little different. It's got a gray background and the white indicates the viewable area masked out by a vector path. And if we zoom into our image here, you can see how clean of a mask that we've got here. And of course the beauty of this is, I did spend that time tweaking those paths to generate this mask. Even after the fact, I can go and get these selection tools. And let's go over here to this point. Let's grab that convert point tool. I can grab this handle and modify this mask right on the fly. You can see it's masking out that little bit of edge that was visible. And I can go around and just modify it any way I need it to be, just so I can make sure it's all right. I can even go in here and add points. If I've got too sharp an edge here, go over here into that same menu, go to the Add Anchor Point tool, go right in here and just plot a point right there. Zoom in so we can see. There's that point I just added. So let's get that direct select tool, grab it and push it out. Grab that other one and push it out. Maybe modify that handle. But all we're doing is modifying that mask. So you can see tremendous power you have over using vector masks to generate selections or masks for very fine edge objects inside Photoshop. So there you have it, vector masks.